Hey, everybody! It's a special episode of Happy Businessing with Suze. In fact, it's more like, oh my God, what an amazing client, purpose driven organization. Let's interview them. That's what we're doing today. So I'm so excited to have on Dodie Arnold, MSPH, Ph.D., epidemiologist, nonprofit founder, executive director of Arnold CR, and the CEO of Intended Impact. Wow, I'm botching this. Oh my
No,
God.
you're doing great.
CEO of Intended Impact. And of course, you're a mom to the most amazing, smartest, most charming little boy ever. That's you, Caleb. So Dodie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Susan. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, it's been a long time coming. We've talked about doing a show together for a while, and we are finally doing it.
Yes.
So, no wonder I got tongue-tied as I was introducing you. You have a lot of letters after your name. You do a lot, and I think that we should start there. So I have a couple of first questions for you, like, what is an MSPH? What's an epidemiologist? Wow, hey, I said it right. And what drove your passion and determination to get your PhD in epidemiology?
Yes, I love talking about those things. So let's start with the MSPH.
Okay.
So that's a Master of Science in Public Health.
Okay.
Folks might also be familiar with the MPH. They're very similar, except that the MS, the science, has more science courses. So more biostat, more epi courses, more analyses, math, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, folks with an MPH or MSPH, we really work in prevention. So, like a MD, a medical doctor, is going to be the person that you, Susan, see when you're sick, your one-to-one relationship.
Okay.
But public health practitioners, we're always doing like this broad surveillance of the population and looking for patterns, looking for things that we can do to improve the health of the population. So there are three main strategies for prevention that we're really taught and well versed in. There's primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention. So primary prevention is stopping something before it even happens. So
well, that would be nice.
Yes.
Can we just do more of that?
Like, what is it? Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff, like if we're concerned about obesity and diabetes, we look at like sugary drink taxes and more active workplaces, things that can prevent that. Secondary prevention is where we move into, okay, folks in the population have gotten sick. We need to be able to detect it. We want to be able to treat it. We want to be able to help people improve their quality of life and longevity and, lifespan. And then tertiary is where we really get into, it's a serious disease and we're looking at treatments and things that we can do. And that's more on the clinical side and very coordinated with, like clinical trials and MDs, biotech, pharmacy, that sort of thing. So yeah, we get to do a lot of really cool things. So that's a little bit about public health in general.
Wow.
Yes.
So what's an epidemiologist? I know what it is.
Fantastic. So I think a lot of our viewers probably heard a lot about epidemiologists in the last year. We're always in the news, but I'm sure we were.
Epidemi what?
Yes. So again, we study diseases in a population. And, unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we're all familiar with infectious disease epidemiologists. But basically, epidemiologists are folks that have a very specialized skill set within the research arena. Okay. So we're looking at the things that can cause diseases where we may not have known. So like we can take it back to like the 40s, lung cancer. We were pretty sure that smoking was a big factor, but we nailed that with epidemiological studies. Like we made the link between those two. Then there are things like the COVID vaccine. In addition to lots of other scientists like virologists, immunologists, epidemiologists were involved in that when we looked at the efficacy. So how effective vaccines were, the COVID vaccines are. So it's a really cool discipline. I went into it because I never wanted to be bored. And so you really get to wear a lot of hats because you're so versatile. You can work in infectious disease. You could do chronic disease. From my career, I'm working on climate and health. But a couple of years ago, I was doing domestic violence. There's so many things that you can bring to the table and really contribute to society as a whole. It's just a really cool field.
Awesome. Well, and one of the things that I think is really cool is you've helped educate me on the link of health and climate and how they're so interlinked, and I think that that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to talk about your organizations today. So when you and I first started to getting to know each other, we met online, you guys. You can build real relationships on the interwebs. It's lovely. But I came across Dodie. I think I gave a quick little piece of advice 2 years ago. And then Dodie and her son Caleb came to Tokyo and we managed to hang out for a couple hours and go to Starbucks and get brunch. That was really fun.
Yeah. And the Rabbit Cafe.
Yeah, that place was cool. The little bunnies that pooped constantly. Who knew? I didn't know that bunnies are like poop factories. I had no idea. But that was super fun. And, eventually your nonprofit goal was coming more and more to fruition, and you were scaling that up, and then we ended up getting to work together. Yeah. So what is your vision now for Arnold CR? And I think you should share with everyone what types of programs and organizations that you partner with. And you guys, I see a couple of you watching. I love it. You're welcome to drop a question in the comments. I see, a couple of you guys are interacting. Hey, Bobby Joe, hi. Chris Hutchinson, hi. Thank you for watching. If you guys have questions for Dodie, drop them in the comments. She knows everything, you guys. She knows a lot. So you can pretty much try any question on any of these topics and we can try to address them for you. As you're there, I'm asking all of you to please go on Facebook, pull up the Facebook page for arnoldcr.org. Okay, and follow and like, because we're working on growing that channel for them. And if you want to learn more, they also have their website at www.arnoldcr.org. Okay, and you can see all the amazing things that they are doing. Okay, so programs and organizations that you are partnering with.
Yes. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that we're doing. So just to tell y'all a little bit about Arnold CR, so like Susan mentioned, it's a nonprofit organization. And what we're really looking to do is maximize the impact of programs that are focused on environmental stewardship, as well as mental and physical wellness as experienced in nature. Sorry, getting tongue-tied here. So one of the things that Arnold CR is really looking to do is increase the visibility of people of color involved in outdoor work as a field, as well as environmental and climate justice areas, because those areas they've predominantly been white spaces. Yeah. And, when you go to conferences and, you're talking about like the experts, it's always a white face. And we know that historically in the United States and globally as well, minority communities, particularly Black communities, have consistently been on the end of things where we've had adverse health because of policies, zoning, like so many things. So the idea is to get visibility, people of color. So, my community, Black community, as well as all people of color, particularly Indigenous and Hispanic people. And so that we can mobilize together and challenge environmental racism. Because, we're going to continue to see situations where the consequences of hazardous waste and climate change disproportionately affects communities of color. And then one of the other things is to improve access and opportunities for people of color to enjoy the outdoors. So depending on how comfortable your audience is, whether or not they are outdoorsy kind of people or not, you may or may not know that some of the outdoor recreation things are really expensive. So like if you want to ski and things like that, it takes a lot of equipment.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Oh yeah, you want to go snowboarding or skiing, by the time you consider getting there, paying your lift fees, renting equipment if you don't have it yet, getting something to eat and drink while you're there, you're at $200 a person.
Yeah, easy. And that's like a day trip, and you haven't had skills that you've developed for a lifetime of enjoying skiing. Yeah, it's pricey.
And that's not including all the cocktails.
All those fun celebrations.
When I go to the mountain.
Right. And then also one of the things that I think is really important to talk about is when you're in the outdoors, you're in white spaces primarily, like the other hikers and things you encounter are white. And there's, how do I describe? There's always a tension and not sure, is this a safe situation? Isn't it? And, for those that may not have these things top of mind, I want to point out that it's not about stereotyping or prejudice or any of those things. It's a historical context. So for a lot of us Black people, we're aware of lynching and the idea of, I'll tell you a story. I went to a state park around here, and, when you're out recreating, you always want to tell someone where you're going. I don't know what I was doing. I was so excited to go birding. It was early. I totally forgot to tell my parents where I was going. And I find myself near the state park. There are just Confederate flags lining the couple of miles to the park entrance, and I have no cell phone service. And
terrifying. I can't even imagine.
Right. So it's note to self. I always need to do that. So just kind of wanted to bring that up, that, we want to have more familiarity, more faces on the trail, make it a more friendly place, work with, but to be fair, we also have a lot of allies on the trail, and also educating them, this is, if you're recreating, put on that Black Lives Matter shirt, do something that we know, okay, this person as someone I can have, some amount of trust or comfort with. It's a really complicated situation, but just getting newcomers out there to experience, because some people don't even have the opportunity to go outdoors because they're so fearful of what may happen.
Absolutely. And, I think it's really easy for white people because we don't even think about it, right? I do, but most white people don't even think about the fact that even just walking down the street can be dangerous for people that don't look like you.
Absolutely.
Just walking down the street and just doing your thing could ultimately be met with ugliness and danger. And you have to worry about your kids, your family members out and about. And so then when you convert this to an outdoor situation where there's not a lot of people around, and it could be that a lot of the people out there are not allies, out there camping or hunting, I love that you're doing this work. And you've educated me so much on so many, as you know, on so many different topics related to this. And I'm, really proud to know you and to have worked with you. So can you tell us the programs and organizations that Arnold CR and Intended, no, this has been great. The Arnold CR and Intended Impact partner with, because you've got some some pretty incredible things going on, and I want you to share that with people.
Yeah, thank you. Because I was going to say, like, let me go back there because I didn't quite make it.
That's okay.
So right now we have this huge partnership with Edge Outdoors. We're like so incredibly excited about this. So Edge Outdoors was founded by Annette Diggs, a girlfriend from a while ago. We met in, I think it was 2005, 2006. We participated in a summer program together and did, some training in Brazil. It was fantastic. And we connected then and always like kind of stayed in touch. She's from Memphis. So she moves out to the Pacific Northwest to Seattle in, I think 2012. Yeah, 2012. I was leaving, she was coming. And she got up there and like me absolutely fell in love with the Pacific Northwest. And this woman is a legit mountain climber and skier now. This incredible Black woman from Memphis. She's in mountain climbing in Patagonia. She's actually, and she's, she's a brainiac too. She's a chemist for the FDA.
Wow.
And actually, I think I'm sorry, USDA. But she actually is a ski instructor on the weekends in Stevens Pass. And so we've gotten together and we're doing a ski scholarship for 5 women of color to come and have like this 1 month training on the slopes, build camaraderie, build up some skills, and they're going to have a season pass to be able to come and practice. We've got their gear. We've got them taken care of. We're at
That's
the point,
amazing.
It is. And we haven't announced all the sponsors just yet. And that's kind of managing those relationships. But we've gotten some multi-year commitments. I'm really excited.
That's amazing.
To bring that for Black women and have that. It's going to be fantastic. So that's one. Let's see. We're also working with the Foundation for Louisiana, helping do some evaluation work for their climate justice portfolio. So that's really looking at building people power, advancing just policies, and changing narratives about climate change in Louisiana. I think folks are pretty familiar with hearing about like our coastline issues and oil industry, but really looking broadly like North Louisiana, West Louisiana. And it's just like an amazing effort. And I'm super proud to be involved with them. Excuse me. So those are kind of a few of the things that we've got going with Arnold CR. The next little transition. The other organization I have is Intended Impact. And so there we share a lot of similar values. So, equity, we lead with race. We're really curious, always having a learning orientation and service to community and dissemination of information. And so that's a little bit more broad, whereas Arnold CR, and by the way, like the CR is climate and resilience. Arnold CR is really steeped in nature, climate, some aspects of health there. Intended Impact really goes more broadly and addresses the needs of Black and others, Black and brown people in the US. So we look at things like maternal morbidity. We're also getting into some things around, oh shoot, I just lost it. But it's more encompassing. We do some career pathways work as well. We just have a diverse clientele, and it's been really amazing and really fulfilling.
I'm going to let you take a break, take a breath, get a drink of water. I have been making you do all the talking. I got to tell you, though, it's kind of nice because I just get to sit back and chat with you while you do all the work. So you take a second. So you guys, today we are doing a client spotlight with my client, Dr. Dodie Arnold. I would love it if you guys drop us a question, drop us a comment. And I see that you're watching, so I love that. But if you have a question or a comment for Dodie, bring it. And if you have a second, go on Facebook to their Facebook page, arnoldcr.org on Facebook. That's actually their Facebook page. And give them a like, give them a follow. Check out their website, arnoldcr.org. So let's talk about the business side.
Yes.
Because I know this whole story, but they don't. So what were some of the issues that you faced when you were starting Arnold CR?
Yeah. And so do you mean like just kind of like getting the business together, or like what would you like me to touch on?
Maybe at the point that we met and started working together a little bit. Like,
Yes.
what were some of the issues you were having that prompted you to say, you know what? I might actually be ready to get some help, or I might need some help.
Yeah, I was at a point where I was like, oh crap, what do I do next?
What? That happens to everybody.
Yeah. And it's like, it's one of those things where it started off kind of small, and I was kind of playing things small. And I was like, okay, I'm doing like this little contract, this little thing. And then I just realized like, I really have the ability to contribute so much more, and that I really want to make it official, make it substantial. I started getting in the head space where I started thinking more along the lines of, at some point I want to hire employees. When do I do that? How do I know? Like, I think that's what kicked it off. I was like, Susan, I have $5,000 and I want employees.
Like crazy. And what did I say?
No, let's work together. Let's figure this out. But yeah, because I just realized I am only one person. There's only so much work I can take on, so much work I can do. But if I build a business, that is bigger than me. Yes. And not only do I have the opportunity to do work that I love, work that I think is important, but also cultivate relationships with people who share my values and give them values, give them meaning. So yeah, it was just a lot of things coming together. And, like I said, I picked epidemiology because you're never bored. You get to do so many things. And I like to think that if I don't know something, I can figure it out. But I very quickly got into a territory where it's just like, oh, I've looked into this. I still don't know. I need help because I can't do it all.
Well, I think a lot of organizations, whether they're nonprofit or for-profit, they get to the point where they start, believing in it and seeing the potential of it. And they feel that momentum and that wonderful, excitement. And that soon tends to lead to a little bit of overwhelm to where you want to get some help. And a lot of times, you're getting advice from all these different places like, oh, well, you need to hire some employees. Well, there are other benefits to having employees. Maybe you should just do that. And I find that a ton of small businesses go to hiring employees too quickly. And it is actually leads to their demise. It's premature because if you do not have steady cash flow, if you do not have reliable, consistent revenue, if you are not ready to deal with the compliance aspects of payroll in the United States, all the agencies, workers' comp insurance, the state stuff, the federal stuff, it ends up drowning these small businesses when they jump off on that too quickly. And, that was one of the reasons why I first put together my first time hiring e-course. And there's this little free spinoff, you guys, if you're interested, that walks you through, am I really ready to hire? So you guys can check that out if you're interested. I can send you a link, message me. But, it's hard for companies to know when to do what. And I hope I was able to help you get clarity on that with your business. So I'm trying to read my notes here. Oh, yeah. So in relationship to that, how did Profit Logics, aka me, help you with that? And then can you explain to people how intended impact came to be? Because, once we started working together on Arnold CR, we saw there was an opportunity to have a larger impact and to actually cover some gaps that maybe weren't covered by the mission, vision, and purpose of Arnold CR. So you guys, we simultaneously started a for-profit organization as well that's super
Yeah.
purpose driven. So really, these two organizations are out there now, both thriving and both having an impact. And it's pretty cool. So
It is. And we did this in the middle of a pandemic when life could not be more crazy. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Susan for hearing all of my ideas and helping me figure out what makes sense. Yeah, so as we were working on Arnold CR, one of the questions that we kept coming back to was like, okay, so why a nonprofit exactly? And so like that kind of, because it's like you can still do meaningful, impactful work without it being a nonprofit. And so we kind of talked through like some of the advantages of being a nonprofit. And then, just to be blunt, like there's some disadvantages. You get a whole nother layer of, what do I call it? Checks and balances with the board. But you also have opportunities. So for example, something that's like near and dear to my heart, because I went to a lot of school, student loans. So thinking about being able to at some point have employees and being able to help people with their student loan journey in terms of public service, being able to qualify for grants and donations. That was a pretty huge reason to go as well. Right. And one of the things that I've seen, so I've worked in nonprofits for a number of years, is that I think some places really get into mission creep, where like they're doing a million things. And like I told y'all, like I went to epidemiology because I wanted to do a million things. But there are times that I realize I need focus. So Arnold CR is my baby, where the environmental stuff lives there. Okay. The environmental justice, climate stuff, that's where that lives. And intended impact kind of goes more into the other things. So I didn't mention to y'all, but when I was studying my Ph.D. at the University of Washington, I was an NIH fellow with for pediatric and perinatal epidemiology. So I'm all about babies and moms. And so I have an opportunity now to work with epidemiologists across the country, creating training programs for the next group of end-stage epis. But yeah, so intended impact is sort of where I do a little bit of everything else, but with some constraints, because as well, everything is not a good fit. Only things that fit with my culture, the type of work that I want to do, I feel capable in, that I have associates who can participate and uplift as well. And it's been a really great journey. One of the things with intended impact, because I do want it to be an impact-driven organization, we donate back to Arnold CR. To kind of help keep that going and growing.
Yeah, they're very symbiotic. I think what we were able to do in the design of these two organizations is almost magic. And I'm super excited to see where both organizations go. So as a reminder to everybody, you want to run your nonprofit as if it's a real business, okay? So that's the first side. On the nonprofit side, you need to be operating and planning your nonprofit to be self-sufficient, revenue producing, various revenue streams, some passive income streams, spread it out. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You need to be strategic about cash flow. You need to be strategic about who you're partnering with. And then on the flip side, for your for-profit business, you absolutely can make these purpose-driven. People, you can have a soul to your business. That's what I call the purpose beyond profit. I'm not saying profit's not important. Damn straight it is. Profit is extremely important. Otherwise, you don't have the lifeblood. You don't have the fueling that business. But when I say purpose beyond profit, it means your goal is something greater, and the impact you're going to have is something greater. It's your big why, as Simon Sinek would say. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? Yeah. So I love the combination of the nonprofit being run, tightly like a business, And I love the concept of a for-profit business having heart and soul and purpose and impact. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, so I think we should try to wind up here soon.
Mhm.
I think I might jump over one, but feel free to go there if you want to go there. But we're right at about 30 minutes now. I was wondering, what advice would you give to people out there who end up watching this? We don't have too many people live with us. That's okay. It happens sometimes. But people will watch the replays. People will watch it later. And also, we're going to be sharing this, the link to this interview, in an email blast and in other things that we're going to be doing. So it doesn't end here, folks. What advice would you give to people out there that are starting their organization, whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, and they're struggling or they're not sure or whatever? What 3 things do you think were most integral to you getting traction in yours?
Yeah. So I want to say, have clear ideas, but be flexible. Number 1.
Yeah, we had to do that a lot, didn't we?
Yes.
We would do some planning, and then all of a sudden, well, we got to pivot a smidge. And then it would be like, okay, now we know. Ooh, big pivot.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now we know. Ooh, little pivot again, little tweak.
Yeah. And that was really great about our working relationship, because it was a constant conversation. And as things evolved, we evolved. And it just made sense. And so that helped me get in a mindset of being nimble with my business, that everything is not set in stone. Like, you got to have some mileposts, you got to have a roadmap. But when you see a detour, you got to detour and then figure out, how to get back on course. So that's really helpful.
So I'm putting that in the comments. That's what I'm doing, typing over here. Have a plan, but be flexible. Okay. What's the next one?
Get help, get a consultation. I mean, it's one of those things that I didn't know what I didn't know. So I wasn't sure what my blind spots were. I wasn't sure what I was missing. There were things that I knew very clearly I needed help on. So, for example, I'm not an accountant. Like, I was keeping receipts and stuff, but it wasn't in QuickBooks. Like, there were records.
What, you didn't want to add CPA to the end of all your other letters?
Imagine
you
that.
don't want to be MSPH, Ph.D, CPA, MBA. No.
Right. Exactly. So that's even related to that. Like, get some consultations, feel things out, look for a good relationship. But yeah, and I think just sort of on a similar theme of that is, you don't have to do everything yourself, and you probably shouldn't.
Is that number 3, or was that piggyback to number 2?
I want to say piggyback, because you need some objective voice sometimes, because when they're your babies and they're things that you've thought about for a while, it can be kind of hard to see the bigger picture. And so just to have someone else kind of hold things up and say, hey, did you think about this? Or, really press like, well, why? Like, why again? Explain that again.
Yeah. Well, I have to do that all the time. I have 25 years of hands-on business management experience. I should know it all, right? Yeah. I should, because I do know what I don't know in a lot of ways, right? Right. Because I've just seen so much and so many different types of businesses. But I have a coach or 2. I have people that I have to bounce things off of constantly because I can't see my own stuff. It's very easy to help clients see the vision and help clients have clarity about messaging or how to do something. But when it comes to my own business, I need a brainstorm partner. I need guidance. I need fresh ideas. I need collaborators. And, the people that work with me on this stuff are like, yeah, she does.
Right?
Like, good Lord, Suze, leave us alone.
And let's see. And just wrapping up super quick, a third thing I would say is always have your next step or your next to do for your business. At the beginning, it's super overwhelming. And so there are days you feel like, oh, I got to do these 10 things. And if I don't do these 10 things, I'm not businessing. Like I'm not doing it right. I'm not advancing. I was like,
Did
no.
you say businessing?
I did businessing.
That's my word. Hey, did you know that I submitted my trademark application for happy businessing?
I see it right there. Yes.
I'm so excited. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But seriously, like you feel like you're not on the ball, you're not progressing, but it's like life happens. You're not always going to be full throttle every day. Sometimes you need a little break. Sometimes you need a long break. And what's always been helpful for me is to have that next step. If I say, all right, I'm going to take a week off from things. I know at the end of that week, this is what I'm doing next. I don't have to sit and think about, well, where am I? What do I want to do? Just always having like that little breadcrumb, that next thing is really helpful.
Are you still using the Asana that we set up?
I am.
Awesome. Good. Well, you guys, so this is something I talk about a lot. So let me do a quick recap of the 5 missing pieces, you guys. Okay. So all 5 of these are required for a successful business. All right. And I'm going to word them as questions. Who are we? This is your identity, your purpose, your core values, your market, all this stuff about you. Okay. What do we do? This is where you dive into understanding, what are you offering? Are you going to like do mission creep like Dodie talked about earlier? How, creating what your offer is in a way that makes sense, but is also inclusive enough to give you all the opportunities for revenue streams that make sense. Okay. Where are we going? That is your vision. That is where you do projections and you plan the future from end game to now, right? How do we get there? It's your execution, all the ops that are going to be needed. Starting off, you may not be able to see all of those yet, but you know what? You can say, I see very distinctly 2 or 3 phases for this business. And at these different phases, we're probably going to need, payroll systems, a higher level accounting system. For a nonprofit, you're going to need donor management system, right? You're going to need these different things. You're going to need full HR at this stage, right? Mapping those out so you do know what those next steps are coming when you hit those milestones for those next stages. And then finally, what we were just talking about, are we on track? That's the fifth business question, the 5th missing piece. This is accountability. When you're a solopreneur or you're working on your own, not everyone can afford to hire a coach or an advisor or a consultant yet. You need tools in place to help you hold yourself and your business accountable, right? So there are free tools like Asana that will help you do this, right? And so when I work with people, I usually set that up with them and for them, and then they're left with it, right? So it reminds them of things that are coming up that need to be done. Free stuff, guys, free stuff. And speaking of free stuff, I feel like Oprah. I am rolling out a free masterclass, you guys, finally. And it's all about visioning. Okay. A lot of people are out there starting their organization and they know what they want to do. They know why they're doing it right now, but they really never even had time to think about, where am I going? What is my end game? Do I want to pass this organization on to my family? Is it a legacy business? Do I just want to make enough to support myself? A lifestyle business? Do I want a growth business? Do I see a merger or an acquisition activity? Do I want to sell the business? If so, how involved will I be? These are the visioning things that you need to be doing for your business. And that's what we're going to cover in the Visioning Masterclass. There should be a link to it in the post. I'm really excited to offer this and get people thinking about the future. And, when you do a traditional business plan, no one asks you what your dreams are. No one asks you, how does it look and feel? No one asks you, how do you see your lifestyle in relationship to that organization? But when you do real visioning my way, yes, we include that squishy stuff, the dreams, because they're important. Okay. So if you guys are interested in that free masterclass, it's coming up in March. You can sign up and we'll see you there. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? Can we wrap up? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Rock and roll. All right. So Dodie, thank you so much. I'm glad we finally got to do this. I feel so honored that you came on and talked with us. And I feel honored that I've been able to support you in your dreams and goals. But I just need to make it clear, you guys, she did it all. And I told her this last week. She did all the heavy lifting. I was just there to kind of like nudge and prod things in different directions. But she grinded and she made all this happen. And it's so exciting. So you guys go to arnoldcr.org, check out her website, follow arnoldcr.org on Facebook, show them some love, follow them, and that way you can find out what they're up to with all these new, she has like new partnerships coming out, and they're really exciting. The organizations that she's getting the attention of the organizations that are going to just blow your mind. Okay. So do that stuff. If you want to collaborate with her and Arnold CR or Intended Impact, if you want to fund an initiative, reach out. She is awesome. And, who knows what's possible? Like, have the conversation, reach out. Okay. So, you can also donate directly online if you want. Dodie's not going to ask you for that, but I will. All right. Well, Miss Dodie, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone.
Woo-woo! All right. I'm going to see you guys all in 15 minutes. 15-minute break. 1, 2, 3. 15-minute break. And I'm back for Happy Businessing with Suze with my recurring co-host, Haley Gray, with When and Fiercely Marketing. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Dodie, I will not see you in 15 minutes because it's your bedtime.
Good night.
All right. See you. Bye, everyone.